JBZ1 here. Today's video I'm going to talk about the high-end, or should I say, the MC Skull glove build, featuring the AK-47. The reason why I'm highlighting this AK-47 is because it can destroy people in mid-range combat. It can kill two people in a single clip, and it's a stable weapon. It's so good that you can just hold down your fire button, aiming down the sight until they go down. Well, anyways, let's go start this thing, shall we? This is what my gear looks like. Well, accuracy, I'm using the AK as the highlight of this weapon. The gears go slow. Well, I'll talk about that later on. As you can see in the bottom, I'm using a knee pads, the Sentry one, because you don't really need a high end for this one as long as you pick the best one you have. As long as the bonus is not activated, you should be fine on this one. I just don't like using crossbow because I like to time my grenades on it. And now for the mask I'm using. I just crafted this one because I don't have a good Tenacious mask. As long as it has a critical chance on it, it should be fine. And then the highlight of this gear is the Skull MC gloves. Without this one, it's not gonna be a high end, because all your damage is coming from these gloves alone. It will increase your damage by 16%, and there's no active on it. So now let's go to last stand and what this gear looks like. And this is what it looks like inside the last stand. As you can see, all the armor is like 1400 in there. And now for the AK, look at the damage increase, because that's the cap for having AK. 28,000 is the cap, and then 24% enemy armor damage. As you can see, the critical chance is 38%. But if I do all my stuff right here, you'll see the damage boost I get from when attacking this one. It will increase me 47 like that. It could go up to half a million, but it just doesn't show it. So this is what it looks like in the last stand stats. Starting with my chest piece. The chest piece I'm using is Buried Bulletproof Vest. This is the top choice to have. But if you're in a group that have a healer, bigger chest piece is the way to go. But if you're also solo and you don't have a Buried Bulletproof Vest, you can go with Rapid that shorts down the cooldown, right? And the major attributes you want to put is health on kill, health, and then enemy armor damage. The reason why, because this is more like a DPS build. You want to do more damage, you're going to go with enemy armor damage. But you can sacrifice that enemy armor damage for exotic damage resilience. That's also good too. And now for the mask. The mask I'm using is Tenacious Mask, because this will increase your damage by 10% every time you use a medkit. As you can see, my gear is 204, so in last stand, you don't really need a gear score in this one, because everything's going to go to 256 anyways. And for major attributes, you want to have a critical chance, because you want to increase your chance for critting. Major attributes, burn resistance is also must have in this one. And then the knee pads. Again, you don't need the high end as long as your knee pads is not activated like I said earlier. As long as the bonus is not activated, you should be fine. You can use like any steps you want on any piece you want as long as they're not activated. The reason why I'm using a sentry because I don't have a good D-pads. I don't like using the championship D-pads because I like to time my grenades. But anyways, the major attribute you want to put here is health. That's a bit everything because your build is about firearms and you want to increase your toughness by a little. So health, that will help you increase your toughness. For minor attributes, you want to have a shock resistance and burn resistance. And then the third one is really up to you. Now let's move on to my backpack. Backpack I'm using is specialized backpack because this build is about firearms and stamina, right? So the more firearms and stamina you have, the more skill power it gives you. So this is a good choice to have. And major attributes, make sure you have stability because you just want to stable your AK from far distance, right? And minor attributes, burn resistance is must have. And now for the gloves. Make sure you have Skull MC gloves, because without Skull MC gloves, it's not gonna be a high-end build, because all the damage is coming from this gloves alone. Because damage is increased by 16% when no set bonus is activated. That's why you must have Skull MC gloves. And then the major attributes you want to put is critical damage and critical chance. The third one is really up to you. It depends which one you have, because this is really tough to find with a good major attributes on it. So I decided with enemy armor damage instead, because this is the one I found. And now for the holster. Nimble is the top choice for having a high-end holster, because it will heal you 2% of your max health for every meters you run in cover to cover. Basically, you don't need first aid or medkit to heal yourself. And then for major attributes, critical chance again, because you want to increase your chance for critting. And now for the weapons I use. AK-47 is the best mid-range weapon in the game. I tried everything. Sniper might beat you, but you can down them too from far distance. And AUG is the secondary one. But to be honest, I tried most everything. Any high RPM or high damage close range combat is a good choice also. You can go with SASG, Tactical AUG, MP7, or LVOA, or Police M4 man. Anything is good as long as like close range combat. And for the talent I use for my AK is Vicious, Deadly, and Adept. Because AK does a lot of damage already, so you just want to crit. And make sure you want to crit hard, so that's why there's Deadly. Since you're in the mid-range, you're not taking much damage, so Vicious is the top choice here, because again, you want to shoot them from far distance and you'll do a lot of damage when you crit. So 10% will really help you, gives your AK some critical chance. So basically, all this combination, you'll have like about like 60% critical chance when you do some pulsing, when Adapt pop, and when you have 2 bars left, you have that vicious 10% right there. So for the weapon mods, I like having a high critical chance on the scope, and then just high critical damage on the muzzle. Don't worry about the low number, because when you enter the last stand, everything will be capped, and this one will become probably like 19 or probably 20. I don't know which one's the cap in there. But yeah. So it doesn't matter which if it's low, as long as like they have a critical damage, a high critical damage in here and critical chance in here. Of course, here critical damage and stability and accuracy in here. And then this one, you don't need RPM on this weapon. You just want to crit hard, and you want to make sure you want to crit. That's why this is a good choice. A critical damage and critical chance and a high magazine size. It's a top choice for me for AK-47. The skill that I use on this build is Tactical Scanner and the Booster Shot. This too will increase your damage also. The reason why I'm using a Tactical Scanner is because when you pulse, it will give you 5% weapon damage. Plus those critical chance and critical damage, of course. I'll give you a demonstration. But first, let me remove my very bulletproof chest. So let's just pretend, let's just equip this one right here. So without the scan, I'm doing the normal damage. Don't worry about the crit chance, just look at the white number. Don't worry about the crit chance. So 21,701, right? That's the normal damage. So when I pulse, I don't even pulse anything, but as long as I have that buffs in the bottom, it will increase your damage by 5%. It's now 22,786. See, now let's try it with a different pulse. Just wait it out for a bit. Pretend I'll use this one pulse, right? See, let's do that again. Let's check the number. It's 21,701. So when I pulse with this one, you see the pulse is different. It's like that's a normal pulse. When I rush shooting it, it's still the number didn't change. So basically, that's why I use that tactical pulse because it will increase your weapon damage by 5%. The abilities that I'm using is the critical save, the strike back, evasive action, and on the move. Again, you can just choose whatever you want, but when I'm doing a covered cover, I'm getting this 30% damage reduction for like 2 seconds. So that will help me to move to the location that I need to be healed. So this one can save your life. Sometimes it doesn't. It depends on the situation. Well, that's all for this build. Hope you found this video useful for your present and future build. More builds to come. And this is JVC1. This is me saying goodbye, guys.